The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in chaos. 12 species representatives clustered around the holographic display, showing Earth's impossible fleet materializing from the void. Admiral Cathera of the Zelani Collective watched in growing horror as vessel after vessel appeared, each one dwarfing anything in their combined armadas. "This cannot be possible," hissed the reptilian delegate, his scaled hands trembling. "Our intelligence reports indicated humanity possessed fewer than 200 active warships." Council Chairman Vextor studied the tactical display with 3 of his 4 eyes, the 4th fixed on the human ambassador who sat motionless in his designated chair. Ambassador Chen had said nothing since the fleet's arrival, his weathered face carved from stone. The execution had been swift and legal by Galactic Council standards. The human child, barely 12 Earth years old, had been caught smuggling medical supplies to a quarantined world. The penalty for violating quarantine protocols was death, no exceptions regardless of species or age. The Council had carried out thousands of such executions over the millennia to maintain galactic stability. But humans, Vextor was learning, did not think like other species. "Ambassador Chen," Vextor's voice carried the authority of his position, "your government has violated 17 interstellar treaties by mobilizing this armada. We demand an immediate explanation." Chen finally looked up, and Vextor felt his primary heart skip a beat. The human's eyes held something the chairman had never seen before. Not anger, not rage, but a cold, calculated fury that seemed to burn without heat. "Her name was Sarah Martinez," Chen said quietly. "She was trying to deliver antibiotics to children dying of a plague your council deemed acceptable losses to maintain your precious quarantine. The law applies to all species equally. She was 12 years old." Chen's voice never rose above conversational level, which somehow made it more terrifying. She smuggled medicine in her school backpack because she couldn't bear watching the news feeds of children dying when Earth had the cure. Fleet Admiral Thexery of the Warrior Caste. Corvin leaned forward. "Human, your species has 200 ships. We have assembled 4,000 of the finest warships in the galaxy. Your display is impressive, but ultimately meaningless." Chen stood slowly, his movement deliberate and controlled. "Admiral, you're correct about our active fleet. 200 ships all built in the last century using technology we learned from you." He touched a control on his wrist device. "Would you like to know what we've been hiding?" The tactical display updated, and gasps echoed through the chamber. The human fleet wasn't just large, it was ancient. Ships dating back millennia floated in perfect formation, their designs unlike anything in Council databases. "Humanity has been building warships for 8,000 years, Chen explained with academic calm. "We called them decommissioned when we joined your council. You assumed that meant destroyed. We never corrected that assumption." A junior aide rushed to Vextor's side, whispering urgently. The chairman's face went pale. "Impossible. Our scans show weapon signatures we've never encountered. Some of these energy patterns shouldn't exist. Nuclear warheads were our first attempt at ship-killing weapons, crude but effective. Then came antimatter drives. We learned to weaponize those too. Kinetic bombardment systems, gravitational manipulators, quantum destabilizers." Chen's voice remained conversational, as if discussing the weather. "Every time we learned something new, we found a way to make it lethal. It's a human trait you overlooked in your assessments." The Corvin Admiral's warrior pride kicked in. "Ancient ships are still just ships. Our technology is superior." "Admiral," Chen interrupted, "3 of your superior vessels just went dark. My government wanted me to inform you that we've been testing our cloaking technology. We've had ships in your formation for the past 6 hours." Panic erupted across the council chamber as delegates frantically contacted their fleets. Confirmation came swiftly. Corvin, Zelani, and Thraxian ships were indeed going offline, their crews unharmed but their systems completely disabled. "This is an act of war," Vextor declared, his composure finally cracking. Chen nodded slowly. "Yes, it is. You executed a child for the crime of compassion, a child who believed that helping others was worth risking her life." He turned to face the full council. "Humanity tried to play by your rules. We joined your council, adopted your laws, accepted your definition of civilized behavior." The human ambassador walked to the center of the chamber, his footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. "But you made one critical error in your understanding of our species. You assumed that because we sought peace, we had forgotten how to wage war. You thought that because we valued diplomacy, we had abandoned our capacity for violence. Chen's eyes swept across the gathered delegates. Sarah Martinez proved that humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons or our technology. It's our willingness to sacrifice everything for what we believe is right. More reports flooded in. Human ships were appearing throughout Council space. Not attacking, but simply waiting. Orbital stations found themselves shadowed by vessels that had somehow approached undetected. Trade routes discovered human escorts that had been traveling alongside merchant convoys for weeks. "What do you want?" Vextor asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Justice," Chen replied. "The quarantine will be lifted immediately. Medical aid will be provided to all affected worlds. The officials responsible for Sarah's execution will face human justice." He paused. "And the Council will formally acknowledge that the systematic execution of children for any reason is a crime against sapient life itself." "And if we refuse?" Chen looked directly at the chairman, and for the first time since the session began, he smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "Mr. Chairman, we've been preparing for this conversation for 8,000 years. Every ship in our ancient fleet was built for one purpose: to ensure that when humanity says never again, we have the means to make it stick." The vote was unanimous. 3 days later, Sarah Martinez was posthumously awarded the Terran Cross for extraordinary heroism. The ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy, and for the first time in millennia, the Galactic Council learned what humanity meant when they spoke of honor. The ancient fleet returned to Earth's shadows, but everyone knew they were still there, waiting and watching, ready to emerge whenever someone forgot that even the youngest human life had value. In the end, the galaxy learned that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their numbers. It was their absolute refusal to let evil stand unopposed, no matter the cost.